This is Jim Nailon, liturgical guitarist. I'm going to share my arrangement of the hymn Rain Down by Jaime Cortez. And I'll play through it first, and then we'll go through it step by step. That was pretty close. Okay, so first off, I'm playing this in C. It's written in D, so if you're playing along with other musicians or playing off the sheet music or leading the congregation, you'd want to capo it on the 2nd fret. But we'll just talk through it without a capo here. So starting out, and the other thing important, you'll notice there's a note right after it says refrain on the top. It says it's a slow gospel swing. 8th notes should not be played in strict rhythm. The way it's written on the sheet music, and this is common to write it in strict rhythm and then say play it in swing rhythm. That's a common practice. So it would sound like this. But that's not how it sounds. That's not a gospel feel, and this is definitely a gospel song. So you want to get that kind of a rocking sort of rhythm, like I played it. So so in that sense, ignore the sheet music. Wherever it has an 8th note, it's really an 8th note triplet, and the first two are tied together. So 1, 2, 3, it'd be 1, 3, 1, 3, da 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 da. So that's the rhythm. So starting along C, first measure. Oh, there's a quarter note rest before you hit the inner voice there. So sometimes I give you, before the inner voice picks up, sometimes you'll see a quarter note rest, sometimes you'll see an 8th note rest. And the difference between that, you have to be aware of that if you want to play it exactly like the music's written. So the first one. And here's a quarter note. 8th. And then you'll notice I played the F's with my thumb around, like that's my practice. But you can come off that C7. And you have to lift off the back of your bar here to reveal that the open 2nd string, and then put it back down quickly to get the the first fret of the second string. So the trick in that, I've talked about this on my last two videos also, which were Ready the Way and Spirit and Grace. Both use the same kind of trick. So the trick is in the wrist. You'll see my wrist as I want to lift up. I bend my wrist forward, even a little bit in my elbow, and lift that up, but then I can still keep the pressure on the bass note here that I need. I want that F to ring, that bass note to ring all the way through. I don't want... That would sound choppy and amateurish and not musical. So you want to work on that. That may take a little practice if you've never done that before. And then C over E. And then the D minor here, I put a little bass figure in there as it kind of goes into that turnaround on the G. It needed something different. So, and then third finger, so you just play the D minor with your fourth finger on the third fret of the second string and your excuse me, second finger on the second fret of the third string. So you got the open, the melody note's the open E. And so your third finger's free here to get that C. And then open fifth string, and then first finger gets the F, the first fret of the sixth string, and then you're on your G. Running up that bass run to the C. Now, the way this is written out, you get one verse. If you want to vary it, there was another bass run that I almost changed this one for. My wife preferred this one, so I left this one in. But the other one is probably even easier. It would be so where you have in the bass notes, where you have that eighth note on the C or the third fret of the fifth string, make that the open E string or the open sixth string, an eighth note there. So instead of here, you're playing this, and then a quarter note on the F. Instead of those two eighth notes, just become one quarter note on the F. So it'd be or up to tempo. No, actually, yeah. Where that C is, where the C, it's actually the open sixth string. I said it was A, but it's not the open fifth, it's the open sixth. So it'd be. So I'll give you an alternative to the other way. Those are both good. And then moving on, hammer on, and then E7, and A minor. Down to the C7, with the G in the bass, and then the F. Now here's if you want to get that eighth note, in the last beat there, you have to actually hammer on as you bring your bar down. If you can do that, that's good. If not, just play it like you did up at the first measure of line 2. They're the same measure except for that third beat. I have some eighth notes in there, so it'd be. You got to really bring your hand down hard. I'm jerking hard on that. It's not easy to bar or to get a hammer on with the pad of your first finger here or whatever. So if you can't get the hammer on. Of course, if you can play it with your thumb around, it's real easy. So then the G, and then the F over C, nice little country riff there. So that's just okay. Page 2. Now you notice in the first measure my bass movement goes up. The second measure starts on the low and then it goes up and then high and then down. And then now in the I do that for a reason. It's more important on the second and fourth lines why I do it. I'll talk about that when I get there. But anyway. Now I did it wrong that time intentionally. You could do it. It doesn't matter on that doesn't matter on any of them which way you do it, to be quite honest. But it does give you a little bit of nice bass movement, a lead into the bass on the next measure as we get down to the other lines. So E over B. If you do play it this way, you want to get that the last quarter note there, the C natural, by rocking your first finger down like this. Bring that down, and so you're getting that way. You can lift it off there, either one. It doesn't matter. I like to do that. That way I don't lose any of the G sharp. It rings through the whole measure. But it's not a big deal either way. Then the A minor, hammer on. And then this C7 over G. The seventh doesn't come in until towards the end. So just play, just from the A minor there, bring your third finger down to the bass note, the third fret of the sixth string, and play the C, little finger on the C there, on the third fret of the fifth string, and lift your little finger up and then put it on the seventh of the chord, the third fret of the third string. So you got to move your little finger in the middle of that measure. So it's there on the bass, on this low C root, and put it on the third fret there. Then you got an F, and this one. If you're going to bar it, it requires a quick change here to make that clean, because there was no way I could. But if you're good at playing your Fs, you can get there quick enough. I think I can do it. Let's see. That wasn't bad. It's a lot easier if you and on the, okay, so we're on the second line of page 2. There, now the bass. Now you got to have that the fifth string. So you've got one more bass note there. If you did, you could do it just like you did the first measure of line 2 on the first page, but I like that lower bass in the middle voices there. Anyway, then moving on to the C over E, and here now after the bass note, the inner voice movement goes from higher to lower on the G to the E. And the reason for that is that the last inner voice there would be a E. That note, the E, which leads you into the bass note of the next chord, the D minor. And again, it goes from high to low there in the middle voice. There's an A, and the low A leads you down to the G. And then this third line. Now here, in this one, I break the pattern in that second measure, and the bass movement goes up. And here's another G7 where the seventh doesn't come in until the last note. C7 over G, C7 over G. It's got a little figure there, a triplet. So your first finger pulls off to the open second string, and then the little finger catches the seventh, which puts you right in for your bar. Now in that second measure, though, on that G chord, again, the middle voices go from high to low, because you'll see the last middle voice is the open fourth string, that dotted quarter note, and that leads you into the root of the next chord, the C. So bass run back up into it. Now, the only other thing, when you get to the very ending, so there you take a repeat, go to the top, the start of page 2, and play down, and then it ends at the bottom of page 1. So last time through, I didn't write that in, but that's probably how I would play it. That little, where you play a C chord, you play it with your third finger, or second finger up in the air, so you're playing the open D string, and then hammer on with that. That's a nice ending. So I think that's covered everything on that one. So good luck with that. I pray. Lord, look for more arrangements on liturgicalguitarist.com. And I pray God blesses your playing, and I wish you peace.